Hi, everyone. We're here at the ACT Expo in 2026. I'm joined by RJ Scaringe, CEO of Rivian, and we're really excited to talk today. I stopped by the Rivian booth over the past couple of days, and there's a lot going on. And in terms of irons in the fire with Rivian, there's so many things going on. But the picture that I'm looking at when I see what Rivian's doing is a lot of synergies that can really lend themselves well to the fleet side of it. So given that we're at ACT, and that's what a lot of these folks are looking to understand. How would you say that Rivian is really positioning itself in the fleet space? There's the EDV and now R2, and there's software. There's all these things going on. What would your take be on how Rivian's positioning itself?
Well, there's so many different types of fleets. You talked about R2 and EDV. Both of them would be part of large fleet business for us. Of course, the van already. In the case of the van, this was developed really deeply thinking about the last mile process, and so looking at the entirety of what it takes to deliver packages and working in partnership with Amazon to define what that vehicle became. And ultimately, I'm really excited to see, there's now well in excess of 30,000 of these on the road. As we've talked about in our most recent earnings call, that's going to be ramping pretty significantly over the coming year and maintaining a much higher output in terms of volume. And it's just a reflection of Amazon very clearly seeing a significant TCO advantage, a significant cost advantage to running not just an electric vehicle, but also a connected vehicle that has built-in prognostics, predictive capabilities in terms of looking at service intervals, and then the ability to integrate very deeply into their software architecture. And so it's really we used to always say software-defined vehicles. We're increasingly thinking about these vehicles as being AI-defined, where you can leverage better decisioning through the collection of all this information across the vehicle. And so that's in the delivery space. Recently we also signed a large deal with Uber, where we're building a robotaxi on our R2 platform. And that's a very different type of fleet business, sure, but nonetheless still very much a fleet business. And in this case, we're moving people. And a huge element of that is the technology is self-driving. And we see that playing out across everything: movement of goods, movement of people. Related to that, we have a micromobility company that we created. The name of the company is Also, and also just announced a deal with DoorDash. And in that case, it's a fleet, also is building a fleet of small delivery bots that will be delivering, mostly food for DoorDash. So it's, again, just the entire model of how we think about fleets, running fleets, managing them. It's shifting very heavily towards not only autonomy, but electrification, connectivity, and a lot of the insights that can come out of an AI-defined platform.
How do you, you covered so many topics in that brief summary. Like, how is Rivian keeping all these things organized and capitalizing on the fact that, we're doing commercial vehicles, there's AI integrations, now there's vertical integration with all of that.
Yeah.
And, it's one thing to be doing all of those, but it's another thing to have a feedback loop and instituted in the company where all those learnings are then passed back around.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, a big focus of the business is prioritization. So what do we do in what order? And we think of it as there are big horizontal technology platforms that can be deployed across very different vehicle platforms or vehicle types. And so autonomy is a really big example of that, where we're spending an enormous amount of money developing our autonomous platform. Another is our connected vehicle platform. Another is the diagnostics and prognostics platform. And so as different as, let's say, our commercial van looks from an R2, a lot of those horizontal platforms are very much the same, those big technology builds. And then we have to decide which vehicle instances we create around them. And so, of course, in the consumer side, R2 is really important for us because it's our first high volume mass market vehicle. Sure. The R1 was very successful in the flagship or premium space, but the nature of that space is it's a much smaller segment, whereas R2 is going right into the meat of the largest segment, mid-size SUVs. And in the case of the van, we're now seeing that really start to ramp because of all the investments we've made into the technology, the capabilities of the vehicle. It's manifesting as a better cost alternative to anything else out there.
Indeed. Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see, looking at the R2, where it may inject in the marketplace, some of the deals and things that, commercially you're navigating right now, are largely made possible by having a vehicle that's at that price point. But as you know, and we've torn down the R1T, early iterations of it, and we've done subsets of it.
I'm excited for you guys to tear down the R2. It's a giant improvement.
Yeah, it took the words out of my mouth, and so we're super excited to get that. What do you attribute the ability to offer a vehicle at that price point to? Because I think people look at an industry, they're like, oh man, it must be really, really hard to engineer this vehicle it's super feature rich and it's this high price point. Yeah. Well, the high price point gives you a ceiling and sometimes allows you to get away with certain things. Yeah. The low price point puts more constraints on it.
Yeah, it's definitely harder. You're right. I completely resonate with that point. One of the things that's happened for us from a platform point of view, from a technology platform point of view, is when we move to a software-defined architecture where you consolidate the compute platforms into a very small number of zonal computers or zonal ECUs, is you take a tremendous amount of cost out, you simplify the harness, and you move to bringing all that software content in-house. And so, of course, this is how Rivian built its architecture. R2 is going to take what we have in R1 and push that a little further, but that platform is going to keep developing. And the exciting thing is how we've been able to turn that platform into something that's scalable into very different price points, and therefore content levels, and very different form factors and across different brands. And so we did a large $5.8 billion software licensing deal with Volkswagen. This was about a year and a half ago now. And the first product to come out of that is going to be the ID.1. It's not a vehicle that's going to be sold in the United States, but it is remarkable in terms of what our technology is enabling for simplification of the electronic stack and the wiring harness. Yeah. And so that's this is public, but this is a vehicle that has a price of around $20,000. It's an EV. It's remarkably nice. Yeah. And that's the car I keep telling people I can't wait for folks to tear it apart, because they're going to be like, where's all the computers? How'd they simplify the harness so much? So sure. We pushed that really far, and we're going to start to see the benefits of some of the things we did there playing out across the rest of our portfolio.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful statement when some of these legacy OEMs are like VW. They're a giant corporation, right? One of the largest in the world, and they've built vehicles for well over 100 years, and then taking something that Rivian's developed over the past 10 years, sub 10 years, and really putting their money where their mouth is and saying, what, hey, zonal might not be our strongest domain. Let's go to the folks who are really good at that. So I mean, it's a testament to everything that the Rivian folks have done. Yeah. And I know we've spent a little bit of time talking to the folks at Also as well. And the thing that made a strong impression for me is everywhere we look, whether it's the commercial, the passenger vehicle, or the quadricycle and the Also, everyone's like, well, yeah, because we've got this synergistic thing, and it's those horizontals that you were talking about. Yeah. And
there's a lot of elements also that it was able to leverage, some of our operating systems, some of the core elements, these big heavy lifts that we had to make in terms of technology. And being able to deploy, when we say software, it's our software and all of our electronics. We design the computers and ECUs in-house. Seeing those get deployed across Rivians, from a van to a R1 to R2 to soon R3, then across a whole portfolio of products from Volkswagen Group to then micromobility, it's super exciting.
It's very exciting. Well, RJ, I know you've got a packed schedule, so thank you for taking the time. Yeah, we're going to be tracking you closely, and best of luck with everything at the show.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.